Welcome to the practice test for exam number 2. I'm going to go through each question in a video, hopefully. So for question 1, this is all about arrays. You will be expected to know some basic things about arrays for the test, so this is a good practice for that. You will not have to write any programs or methods that deals with arrays for this test because we've just introduced them. Okay, so section 1A uses this array up at the top, and I am supposed to just go through each one of these and basically trace this and say what will happen in the variables and trace any output. So I've got x1 is equal to mynums sub mynums dot length. So just to review, these indexes for the array start at 0 and they go up to length minus 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This has an array. This is an array of length 8 with indexes from 0 to 7. Therefore, what this actually says is int x1 equals mynums sub 8 because mynums.length is actually 8. Therefore, this is an error. And the error is because this index does not exist. It's an out-of-bounds error for the array. Okay, moving on to part B. I would write that here, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to write this here. But if I were taking the test, I would actually have to write here what the error was. For the next one, mynums.length. So again, mynums.length is 8. So 8 minus 3 is 5. So we're actually talking about mynums sub 5. So mynums sub 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 8. Therefore, x2 has an 8 in it. Okay, part C. For part C, I have a for loop, and I'm starting at 1, and I'm going up to 1 less than mynums.length, so that seems fine. That would take me up to 7, which is the last one in the array, and I++. Mynums sub I equals I, and then there's some math over here. So it looks like I'm modifying mynums on the left. Therefore, I'm just going to write out here what's in mynums to start, so I can keep track of it. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, -2. And then I'm also, above it, let me move this up so I have a little more space. I can't really do this on the test, huh? I'm going to write the indexes just in a small print so I can remember which one is which, and I don't have to keep counting them every time. I feel like I've missed a number. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, -2, 0. Right. Okay. 6, 7. Okay. Now I'm ready. I'm going to need to keep track of I, so maybe I'll keep track of I somewhere. I'll keep track of I here, out of the way. Looks like I starts at 1. 1 is less than 7, and if I want to make my life easier, I might just write a 7 in here or an 8 here to remind myself that the length of the array is 8 from 0 to 7. 1 is less than 8, so I will go in here and say mynums sub 1 equals I, that's a 1, times mynums sub 0. So this is mynums sub 0, so I'm taking I minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Mynums sub 0 is a 1. Multiply it by the current value of I, also 1. Store that result back into mynums sub 1. Now I'm in a for loop. I goes up by 1. Okay, going around the loop again. Again, start on the right-hand side. Mynums sub 2 minus 1 is 1, so mynums sub 1. Take that number, that's a 1. Multiply it by the current value of I, which is 2. That is a 2. And put that into mynums sub 2. So again, I am back at 2. Okay. I goes up by 1. All right, going around the loop again. My num sub 2, 3 minus 1, that one, that's currently a 2. Multiply it by the current value of I, which is 3, that's 6, and store that into my num sub I. And then if I want to generalize this in my head, I can see that what's happening every time through the loop is I'm taking the current value of the index and I'm multiplying that times the value of the previous thing. So if I want to go through and fill these in, I can just say the next round will be 4 times 6 will be 24. Then I will become 5. When it's 5, 5 times 24. Oh, let's see, 4 times 20. 10, 12, 120. I become 6. I hope I did that math right. I'll check myself in a minute. I'm not so good when I'm talking. For when I is 6, 6 times 120 is 720. Is that right? I think so. And then when I is 7, 0 times 720 is still 0. The only thing I want to check is whether 5 times 24 is actually 120. I just can't remember. I think that seems right, but when I was doing it in my head, 10, 12, yeah, okay, that's right. So this should be it. At this point, I goes up by 1 for the last time. I don't have quite enough room to write this, but 7 becomes 8. And at that moment, the loop ends because 8 is not less than 8. So I go out and I print out my num sub 4. So output is just the fourth one, 24. All right, next. Move down a bit. For part D, I have prod and I and my nums again. And for these exercises, we're asked to reset my nums between each number. So again, I might write this out again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then write the original numbers in. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, -2, and 0. Let me also keep track of prod and I. Prod, I. Prod gets set to 1. I get set to 0 to start. And it looks like we're going from up. I is 0, 1, and then 2 because we have to stay less than 3. Okay. So going down here, I go to the right-hand side and do the right-hand side first. Let me go figure out what this one is. This is the most complicated one. I'm at slot 0 in my num, so that's a 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and that goes back into prod. So prod stays 1. I think I might just leave it like that. At this point, I gets incremented to 1, so then put that in. 1 is less than 3, so I get to go in here. Now I'm at my num sub 1, also a 1. 1 times 1, still 1. Pretty boring so far. I goes up by 1. Now I'm at my num sub 2, which is a 2. 2 times 1 is 2, and that goes back into prod. And at this point, I goes up to 3. Now I go around the loop again, and 3 is not less than 3. So this fails, and I'm down to the print line where I print out prod. So the output is 2. I think this concludes section 1. Question 1, yes.